Okay, I just want to make this video real quick. Should be no more than maybe 8 minutes. I'm using this game as an example. I do not know if this is a strong argument, but it is an argument to be made. This company spared no expense making this game offline. I know this was a very expensive endeavor. If the Sony DRM situation is 100% factual, which I will be slowly testing throughout the 32 days because I'm going to start tomorrow on the 29th. I decided to start early. If it fails, then the argument to be made is Sony owes developers a lot of money. Other corporations that make games, they are owed a lot of money from Sony because they were under a preconceived notion that there is an offline functionality. So they take hours and days and weeks and months and lots of money to develop an offline component to this. So if the DRM is true, then Sony owes a lot of money, or should owe a lot of money, or there's an argument to be made to protest against Sony as they are wasting people's time and money to develop an offline component. Now, this isn't the only example. I could think of Shadow of War, where WB took out all of the microtransactions and made all the components offline and had to change the game and the coding and all that. There's Deep Rock Galactic that also has an offline component where all the updates are made to be offline except for the major raid, which I showed in my previous video of it's in the Fighting for Consumers playlist. You will be able to find it. But if this is real, it's going to cause a lot of problems that they did not foresee. So I would like to have corporations help. Yes, I am asking for the greedy people to help me fight this because the companies they're wasting their time making offline. Apparently, they're wasting dev time where they can just make a server and make it online until it's no longer profitable. Then they can shut it down. That's the argument that I'm currently going with right now with this part of the defense of the consumer. Now, I will be slowly testing this. So if you're patient, subscribe to my channel and await for updates. I am looking through all kinds of things. I'm having to look through patents. I'm looking through how the PlayStation actually works, what the battery actually is, the time bomb thing. I will be testing the refund policy to where you're able to go offline, get a refund, and still play it, which I'm sure that's true, but I want to see the tail end of that, where if I go back online, will it be locked? Because if it isn't locked, then that is a problem. But if it is locked, then that defense of the piracy thing isn't fully true. I can't say entirely true because I will not be jailbreaking my PlayStation to figure that out, because I know that's specifically on jailbroken PlayStation, so we shall see on that. So I'm looking through all of this, and I'm going to slowly investigate as I am offline. So if you're here for my politics from my Blue Sky, the disabled helper, that unfortunately you're going to have to get information somewhere else for a temporary time period. Unless the DRM test fails, then it's going to be even longer period, and you will have to find information somewhere else. But that should always be a good thing. You should never rely on one person for your information, because one person does not own or know everything, especially me when I am chronically online because of my disabilities. I'm not able to do much, so that's what I do. But even for me, don't rely on me. Make sure you have other sources of news. But to wrap this all up, I will be testing a lot of shit. I know people have already tested. I will not be taking my battery out because, one, I do not want to mess with the equipment, but also I want to do the legitimate test, not a rush through test. So I will let the timers run down. I did buy games that are short of the 14 days of the DRM check before you get the permanent DRM, so I will see how that affects. And then, of course, I will report that at the end, or I guess somewhere in the middle, because if it does it mid, then I will let you know that certain games have been locked off because of this DRM check. However, these other games still work, so continuing the test. But that's the quick update. Be patient. Keep making noise. Make sure PlayStation backs down from this. I hate to say this because I try to be as fact based as possible, and I'm going through this investigation. But we do live in a political world where it's more feelings over facts right now because the way the administration and how our government is run currently. So you need to be angry. You need to make noise. You need to make not false claims, maybe I guess the best way to put it is exaggerated claims, but be angry, make a lot of noise, make sure Sony responds. They have to respond. That little chat bot that people keep showing, I do not consider it as evidence, except that I have tested it before, which I will be testing it again to show the evidence that even when they say they're connecting you to a human, it is still not a human. It is a bot. You can break it and have it repeat responses. I've done it before. So it is not human, even when they say connecting to a human for the chat thing, which means we need to start creating arguments on why is AI being used to represent a company if that is not supposed to represent your company? Because if these chatbots are saying different things, then that is driving up the confusion, because the AI that you implemented, that you developed and created and or outsourced to be developed and created, is supposed to represent your company. But that's where my argument's at. So wait for everything. I'm going to slowly roll out all the evidence. I'm going to look through a lot of court cases. I know there's one on Facebook to where X, or pressing a button, is to accept terms of service, which I don't like, because not only does X represent people that people can't read, so which means anyone could press it. They don't have to read, and it seems like there's a lot of reports that students aren't able to read because parents aren't teaching them, as well as teachers are failing to be able to teach people reading. So if reading's already a problem, then X shouldn't be an acceptance of a contract, or accepting a terms of service, or a EULA, end user license agreement. Yes. So there's a lot of arguments to be made. I am siphoning through all that out. So be patient. It'll get done.